Did
I
you
don't
hear
even
me,
think that's
Al?
allowed anymore.
What, going to the, I know, I wasn't sure, because I wasn't sure if there was a public hearing or something.
Just a rumor I'm starting.
Okay.
I don't even think that's allowed anymore.
You're an instigator.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Hoffman, you're set to go, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. 7:01, we'll call the Franklin Township Planning Commission meeting to order April 3rd, are we?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And you had the agenda up there, but I think I know the beginning of the agenda, which is we just called it to order. There's any public comment? I don't think we have any public. And then next order of business is approval of our last meeting minutes, December 5th, 2024. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look through there because I'm sure you don't remember what we discussed.
I'll make a motion to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from December 5th, 2024.
I'll second.
Great. Any discussion, any corrections, changes? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Next is organization of the Planning Commission. And we all had some, at least Chuck and I had discussions. John voiced his interest in staying as secretary since he's getting great help from Stacy. So if we have any nominations.
We start with chairman, right?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that the Planning Commission appoint Dave Hoffman to chairman of the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
It's crashed.
I guess, do we have any other nominations? Being so, if nobody else wants the chairperson, I'll continue and we'll close nominations for chairperson. So all in favor of Dave Hoffman as chairperson, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposition? Take you in the alley later? No, just kidding. Nominations for vice chair.
I make a motion that the Planning Commission appoint Mark Harris as the vice chairman of the Planning Commission.
Second.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Zach. Any other nominations for vice chair? We'll close the nominations. Any discussion? Would you like to make a speech, Mark? Or
No, I'll pass on the speech right now. It's a very hotly contested race. I don't want to, get anybody upset.
all right, all in favor of Mark Harris as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Great. We'll move on to nominations for secretary.
I make a motion that the Planning Commission appoint John Contars, the secretary of the Planning Commission.
I'll second. Any other nominations? Okay, we'll close nominations. Any discussion? All in favor of John Gontars as secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Being none, John is secretary. So great, thank you. How do we handle these minutes? I guess John can still review them with Stacy after.
Sure, John's always very good at going back and looking the videos when he's unable to attend.
Okay. Great. So moving on, first order of business is the agricultural security area application for 1067 Wickerton Road, which is part of we all know it as the Hawking Farm or Chester Hills Farm. Do you want me to do my best at explaining it, Jeff, or do you want to explain why we're looking at this? I think many of us know, but
Oh, why don't you start off, sir? And then if there's anything I need to fill in, I'd be happy to try and do that.
great. I mean, so since this is a public meeting, hopefully, for one, we all had a chance to look at the ASA meeting video from about 2 weeks ago. So you all have a pretty good understanding, but that being that if any public viewed this video, they wouldn't understand what we're addressing. The ag security area, in a nutshell, is to protect farmers against nuisance claims. And there are certain area requirements and production requirements to be in there, as well as some of that doesn't have to apply if a property is next to a parcel that's already in an ASA or is making application at the same time that meets those production requirements. This is a parcel like that. It's only 2 acres, but it's contiguous with the larger parcels that the Hawkins already have in the ag security area. They've made application. My understanding is they've been accepted for land preservation, and a prerequisite for land preservation is that you need to be, that those parcels being preserved need to be in an ag security area. It's been about over 10 years since we last put a parcel in the ag security area. So thank you to Jeff for doing a lot of legwork to make sure we did this in the right manner, working with our solicitor and the county, Jeff Shellington, who's part of land preservation. His job is not ag security area, because ag security areas are the responsibility of the townships. But if you had, like I said, if you had a chance to see the video, I think you have a good understanding of what we're doing tonight. We did, to make application to the ag security area, we all got copied with the application questions and the county's review of those questions. And fortunately, they got back to us in a timely fashion, quicker than they were required to say that the application meets their requirements. We could go through those questions if we wanted to. I kind of feel if you had a chance to see the video, we went through those questions and the county's gone through those questions. The property meets the requirements of the ag security area. How about if I stop there? Hopefully that's a good enough explanation. So it does require our recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, correct, Jeff?
Yes, sir, please.
But if we want to have any discussion, feel free.
No, the video pretty much covered it pretty well, and anybody who's seen it, I think, should understand. And then if a copy of the approval letter that we just got this afternoon is posted somewhere, that should pretty much satisfy, I imagine, anybody who wants to see it.
Right, I agree.
Can you see the county review letter on the screen?
Yes.
I think the reason for why they're applying is really tells a big story. Just that it's a small parcel that's associated with a 100-acre parcel next door, and the family just simply missed this small lot when they originally applied. So they're just cleaning things up.
Right. I'm just trying to pull the suggested motion up. Can't find it, but
It's right there.
Any other
It's on the screen.
any other discussion? Any comments from alternates as well?
No, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I had to resort to my phone. I'm sorry.
No questions here.
You want a motion?
Yes,
I
please.
can entertain one, yes, thank you.
Okay. I make a motion that the planning commission accept and approve the agricultural security area application for Lois Hawking property at 1067 Wickerton Road, Landenberg, PA, tax parcel 72-2-41. That was it. I didn't
Yeah.
end with right.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. Any discussion on the motion? Being none, all in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. Great. We'll have another one in 10 years.
Well, what was interesting, Mr. Brown had attended our ASA meeting. So it would be it'd be interesting if he decides to go through this process.
Yeah, I mean, just for him, it would be good for any farmer.
Yes, sir.
So next order of business is Planning Commission's discussion on the proposed road pavings for 2025 and patching. If I can kind of summarize how I know how the process goes, I guess maybe Jeff in about January start trying to see with surveying the township roads with the engineer, what may need to be patched or paved. And with the funds available, try to judge what roads meet those needs within the budget that we have each year. And so these are the 4 roads that are being paved and the 4 roads that are being patched for 2025. Do we review, is this on our agenda? And I'm sorry I didn't cover it with you, Jeff, before the meeting. Because we've asked to look at these roads when we've had discussions about trails, sidewalks, pedestrian access, or was it equal that the township supervisors wanted our input?
I think it was equal. We requested, but James also said that he felt that we should be looking at them.
Okay.
And just for the record tonight, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Hoffman. Supervisor Jim Johnston, as well as John Gontars, are absent from tonight's meeting.
Yeah, I think we all got notice on Jim being absent, so that's unfortunate. But so what's the schedule for the paving and patching? Do you still go out to bids or?
It will go out to bid, sir. The first time that the board discussed these roads was at the March 3rd workshop meeting, with them having the understanding that we would have to do more homework to narrow things down. So we are lining ourselves up to hopefully discuss our final list and budget numbers at the April Board of Supervisors business meeting. And Dr. Hoffman, if you want me to go through the list of roads that we looked at, I can do that in the areas that we eliminated. Or it's up to you, sir. It's whatever you want.
I mean, if anybody has questions, I had an opportunity to look at the roads today. I think Chuck's looked at maybe all or some as well.
Yeah.
The one question came up, the section of Auburn Road, and Jeff and I addressed it. Looks pretty nice, but what it is, I guess, to final, it has the base course, correct, Jeff? And now it's been 3 years, and while that's still in good shape, we want to put the wearing course on top of that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering if Jeff could go through and kind of describe the work that would be involved. So it says paving, but like we just said, Auburn, that's putting um, the second course on. So if you could describe a little more for each of the other roads.
Sure, I can try, and please don't hesitate to ask any questions. Um, let me just go down my list here. We did look at two areas of Auburn Road with the overall project here. The one that we pushed to the top of the list was Auburn Road from the Lunning Grove to Churchill Road intersection. I do anticipate next year that we will mill and overlay the second part of Auburn Road from Churchill down into a good clean area around what was known as the Keene Farm. So I anticipate that in 2026. The other lane, I apologize, the other roads are Hillcrest Drive. That's something we've been looking at for a couple years. With a severe freeze thaw cycle that we had this year, it really took a toll on it, actually lifting up pavement in some of the minor areas there. Kimberlot Lane, the whole length and width of that, we've looked at that for a couple of years. That's risen to the top of the list. And then we have Red Fox Lane, which is in Fox Knoll, from Den Road up to Carriage Run Lane. That's something else where the top has started to peel, or the wearing course has started to peel, and it's got some severe alligator cracking. So we are going to do some patching on, I say patching, large area patches on Parsons Road, Walker Road, Den Road at about 108, what I would call on the Casa Italia side of Den Road, and then some areas on South Guernsey Road within the woods. I don't know if you've ever noticed traveling on South Guernsey in that area, if you remember the water, I think it was a water truck that went off the embankment years ago. We had
Yeah.
repaired it, restored that bank. We're starting to get some cracking through there. So what we want to try and do is do some milling, base repair, and actually try and put in a keyway so it stops slipping over time. So the areas that we eliminated this year because of what we need to do, again, was Auburn Road, Churchill to the Keene Farm, areas of Hess Mill Road, an area of Liberty Lane, Peacedale Road, and Churchill Road.
I had one question, just looking at the list. Some of these, specifically the Parsons Road section, possibly the Den Road, and then the Kimbalot Lane one. Is there any concern about overlapping with the 896 project, since they all sort of touch on it?
Actually, Zach, we have talked about that, and then we leaned on the side of caution and was more afraid of not doing something beforehand, and then what the road could be through that excess traffic and then future winters.
Okay, I just was curious if that had been considered.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's also some discussion that the township is going to photograph the roads around 896 so that whatever damage is done due to detouring and construction, the state may be held responsible. Correct, Jeff?
Yes, sir. Actually, the township won't be doing those videos. I was able to encourage PennDOT to do a before and after video that we could have in our possession and then be able to make that determination. But sometimes trying to get PennDOT to do things can be difficult. We've run into and I realize you may not want to talk about it, but PennDOT ran into a couple difficult areas on Strickersville Road where they've had to go back already and repair fresh paving that they just did.
Okay. So to swing back around that, I think that a big reason why we're looking at this also, it has to do with pedestrian areas and post offices, or I'm sorry, mailboxes, so that people can safely get their mail, and the people that are already walking around the township, maybe we can afford them some additional safety. So my thought is that the grindings that are created during this road work, it has to go somewhere. And at this point, it typically is ending up at the nearest landowner that will take it. And that, as we've seen on previous permits, ends up being unpermitted and undesigned impervious surfaces. We ran into that with an application that we had, and I've witnessed more of it. I would prefer to see these grindings end up in little landing pads for people to simply step off the road when a car's coming. So we have to be aware of, where it's possible to put these landing pads, basically a shoulder. So we don't want them to be where they're just going to road away back into the road on heavy rainstorms. There's some places where we would obviously prefer to have them so that people, where we have limited vision or whatever, if we could get a pad in those areas. And then of course where there's gangs of mailboxes. Because right now what happens is that the mailman basically digs a big rut next to the mailbox. So I thought that this would be a good way to get 2 for 1, because now we're not the contractor doesn't need to really vacate the area. They can simply put it down along the roadside in areas that's, I think it should be approved first. I don't think we want them to just say, do whatever they're going to do. But then we may be getting it for free because there's a big expense in hauling this stuff away. And right now it's not being properly disposed of in my mind.
It's a better use than a non-approved use.
Do we have trails in the township that use stone or gravel?
No.
Jeff, how is it managed right now? I mean, do we save any as it is? Any other millings?
To be honest with you, Dr. Hoffman, we don't have the space to do it.
Yeah.
We have a bin at the office. We did have an area out at Franklin Preserve. I don't know if you remember that. Unfortunately, then the county got on us because they wanted us to do something with it instead of it being in a pile. So we did make that small parking lot there with a stone base So as time and money allows, I would like to increase the size of that parking lot. Right now, you may get 4 cars in there, but if we expand it anymore, we are going to have to do something with stormwater management and take an engineered approach to that. But I apologize, Dr. Hoffman. The other thing is it does, the paving company has the option to take them back themselves, or if a local resident wants it, they try and work something out with the whoever the successful paving company is.
Right.
Yeah,
Chuck, how do
we
you,
were talking about the Hocking farm. If next time you drive past the Hocking farm, look over and you will see a massive pile. That was from the state. That was when the state was working on 841. So the Hocking farm's right on 841, and that's where they piled it. And there's some other places around here where they piled it. And most of those are now gone. They're now little country lanes on properties. Sorry.
how, how would you see or proposing to the contractor and us identifying the areas to make these pods?
And I'm sorry.
Well, do you have additional specifications to make, Jeff? I assume that there's going to be further specifications that need to be made for these projects.
There will be a bid package that will be in draft form. And then we will then talk about this at the April 16th meeting and see if the board wants to move forward with our recommendations, which would be from me and the engineer. Going back to Dr. Hoffman's question, or at least I think it was a question to me, I have no idea if it would cost more money or not, because now you're having trucks wait, put them along the side of the road, and then tamp it and rake it out. So just to be honest with you, gentlemen, I don't know how much extra that could cost. I just don't know.
So to answer your question, I think that, I mean, I would definitely volunteer to mark up areas that I thought were appropriate on the on whatever documents get sent out as part of the bid.
Well, I think, well, my recommendation would be for someone to go to the board meeting. I don't know who that would be, to propose that idea to the Board of Supervisors before we do anything else.
Yeah, obviously they have to weigh in on this idea. But I would go. I mean, I would.
I mean, we want to try to do something, even though, or I mean, we shouldn't do something just to do it. But I do think what Chuck is proposing, if we can clean up when we have an opportunity, every spot at a mailbox, it starts to help even with the wearing of the edge of the paving. If the postmaster's going off the edge of the paving in the mud versus having something harder to travel on. The one reason I asked if we were able to store some, it is an extra cost, but even if it wasn't part of the project? Is it something that we do with our own road crew periodically and not even necessarily at these locations that we're paving or patching, but where we have the opportunity to correct a bad area on a township road?
What we do, Dr. Hoffman, we use millings to what they call surge stone, which is smaller aggregate stone. It's maybe about the size of my fist on down, so it locks in along the edge of the road. That seems to hold up the best with trucks, the ups drivers, and the post office. We don't normally, let me rephrase that. We try and do some of those areas each year. Now, where they're located aren't always around mailboxes or interfering with the road. I'm not saying there's not something out there, but nothing that comes to mind at the moment.
I mean, I think we did a good job along Flint Hill. And you're right, there's no mailboxes on that side that we did a good job on. Thank you, Chuck, for offering. I'll do my best to be there with you.
Okay.
Any other discussion about these projects for 2025? The one I wouldn't say this to add anything in 2025, but it seemed like the Kimball Lot Lane, it definitely needs paving, but it looks like it has the potential to connect the land trust property on parcel on Peacedale to our township park. Is that part of Parsons from the park to 896 in any plans to be improved?
We're going to be doing patching on Parsons probably over the next 2 years.
Just
There are
patching?
areas right now that we're chasing, Dr. Hoffman.
Yeah,
And I know I worry too much, but then you're encouraging people to cross 896 on the Parsons Road. I know, I realize we all have different thoughts, but people really fly down that road and around that curve there at Frankhart's.
That's why I think it's important that we don't actually try to do a walking area, but more of an area, a series of areas where people can step off the road. And I think that's important to differentiate between. It's not intended to be a trail. In my mind, it's intended to be a place that, so you're walking your dog and you can see two cars coming. Right now, people tend to jump sides. They're already jumping one side to the other. So we just create, as many of these little spots where you can just jump off the road and stand and wait for the car to go by. Because I'm sensitive to what you're saying, Jeff. That we don't want to be dictating where people are driving, or I'm sorry, walking.
General question, and apologize for jumping in. The area you're talking about, Chuck, would that be part of the township easement, or would we need to get the homeowner's permission?
There's plenty of space on the side of the road and all the current right of ways.
Gotcha.
There may not be enough room for sidewalks in certain locations, But that's a full sidewalk. This is literally 4 feet on the side of the road, and that's well within all of our right of ways.
Gotcha. So the township would be responsible for maintaining that going forward, not the homeowner.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the road.
Perfect.
Any other discussion? Okay, I mean, it doesn't require a motion or anything. It's more just to have some comments down on paper, knowing that Chuck will go to the supervisor meeting with the recommendation. I mean, I think it's a good recommendation. How do the rest of us feel?
That makes sense.
Sounds like
It's
a good idea.
worthy cause, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
When is
No
the
issues
meeting,
here.
Jeff?
It would, let me check my calendar again. It will be April 16th at 7 o'clock.
I'm not going to be here.
Hmm.
I'm in Barbados.
That's a terrible place. Don't go.
That's a better place to be.
I'd like to.
I can't commit at this point, but maybe we're gonna lose a lot of thunder if we try to put it in writing, but
What? What's the date? I'm sorry.
The 16th of April.
Um, I mean, I'm obviously shiny new with this, but if you need somebody just to go to the supervisors meeting to present our position, I can do that.
That'd be awesome.
yeah, I
Um,
think that would be great, Zach.
is it possible just to get a brief synopsis written up so I'm not
Yeah.
misstating anything?
Yeah, I'll put together something and I'll share it with everybody.
Then I will I'll commit to being there on the 16th.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great. I think the rest of the agenda is on to public comment. Being no public. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Great. Thank you, Chuck.
Second,
7:39.
might be a record.
And if you want any suggestions on Barbados, I was just there a month ago. Not
Get
even a
out.
month. So
Really?
yeah.
Cool.
Just as a practical matter, are we generally of the impression now that unless we have someone coming in to do a presentation, that all of these meetings will by default be remote?
It's great. Are we still recorded, Jeff? Or are we done?
How about I stop the recording?